Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Alphonso Speaks, and welcome to more Darrell Brooks content. As we keep going, step by step, witness by witness through this entire trial. A lot more videos on the way. This is a lofty, ambitious series that I've undertaken here on this channel, but we're gonna get it done, guys. We really are. We are going to get it done. Other videos are going to come out in between. I've mentioned prior that this is not just a Darrell Brooks channel, but I want to also make it clear this is not just a true crime channel. There are going to be other very interesting topics that are going to be tackled here on Alphonso Speaks, and I can't wait to get to those. They're going to be really exciting and really deep and thorough, and I'm hoping to get a lot of interaction in the comment section, as I usually do. You guys share some strong opinions, and I 100% not only respect that, but I welcome it. One thing I do ask is that before you leave a comment, make sure you watch the entire thing, or at least make sure you capture my entire point or point of view before you respond. It just helps create a much more constructive conversation, which is what I want. But if you're responding off the first 5 words you hear me say, and then you don't hear the rest, and then I respond back and tell you, like, yeah, you basically missed the entire point of what I said. Like, it's a waste of what could have been a constructive conversation. Okay, so let's try to be better in that regard. Let's some people definitely watch to respond instead of watching to understand, and it shows in the comment. But again, I don't care if you guys disagree with me. It is what it is. You know what I mean? If you have some strong points that you make and you can change my mind, all power to you. I'm always open to learning and evolving, but I can't learn and evolve if you're responding to a point that I pretty much didn't even make because you didn't hear the whole thing. It's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. But anyway, again, more Darrell Brooks content. Before we get to that, you guys already know what time it is. Kenichi Bear Headphones. Kenichi Bear Headphones. Hibernation 5C. Use promo code all caps Alphonso on your purchase. Save yourself 15%. All caps Alphonso. I do identify by that name, and I do know that individual, and you all have the subject matter jurisdiction to get yourself a brand new pair of Hibernation 5C headphones. So make sure you guys do that today, okay? Scan the QR code. Anyway, so this witness is going to testify that Darrell Brooks was driving the wrong way down the road, and this is one of the people that he encountered. It was like by the a gas station of some sort, yeah, it gets very interesting. So we're just gonna get into it. It's about I want to say 30 minutes or so, but you guys already know what we're going to do. We're going to watch it on 1.25 speed, and we're going to get through this, okay? Thank you all for liking, sharing, subscribing. It really helps the algorithm, and thank you guys for joining the channel. Those of you who have done so far, I really do appreciate it. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff coming up, including members-only live streams and some Q&As that I'm planning on doing as well. So that's going to be really exciting. But let's get to what you guys all came here for, and that's the Darrell Brooks trial. Let's do it.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Kyle Edwards, Kyle Edwards.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being here. What city or town do you live in, sir?
At the time, Waukesha. Right
Okay.
now I live in Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. So back in November of 2021, you lived here in Waukesha. Is that correct? Okay. And I just want to ask you very briefly, do you have any medical training, sir?
I've been in the service for 17 years, so limited combat lifesaver, just basic Army warrior tasks, that type of medical stuff.
Okay. And on November 21 of 2021, did you make plans to attend the Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you attending that parade with any family members?
Yeah, my wife and 2 kids at the time.
Okay. Did you travel to the area where the parade was being held by car?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember what road you may have taken to approach the parade area?
Yeah, we lived just east of Frame Park, so we crossed the river and then came up into the downtown area using North Street, East North Street.
Okay. And was there a time when you came to the intersection of North Street and Barstow?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, at the corner of East North Street and Barstow, there was a stoplight there. So.
Okay. I'm going to put up a document that's been labeled as exhibit number 7. You get a chance to look at it on your screen first, sir. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, could you, there we go, thank you. Do you see Exhibit 7 on the screen in front of you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize what's shown in Exhibit number 7?
I do, ma'am.
What do you see there, sir?
So that's the intersection we had stopped at. We were coming southwest on North Street, which at the time is a one-way, and stopped at the intersection of East North Street and Barstow with a gas station on our left.
Okay. Does the photograph in Exhibit number 7 accurately represent that intersection to the best of your knowledge, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, move to admit and permission to publish number 7, please.
Any position on that, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, object. Irrelevant.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 7 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Just waiting for it to come up on the screen here for everybody to see. Okay. So the roadway is clearly marked. There's North Street, and the other roadway is clearly marked. There's Northwest Barstow Street. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the big square kind of on the middle right-hand side of the exhibit is the gas station, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There's actually a touch screen in front of you, so I'm going to ask you to please mark with an X where you were positioned on North Street. And North Street is a one-way street, is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the direction of travel, if you could mark it in a spot not near where we're going to need to point out other
Yeah.
things?
Yeah, so this is
Okay.
the one-way.
Okay, perfect. And what about Barstow Street? Is that one-way or two-way, if you know?
I believe it's a two-way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, did you stop at that intersection, sir? That's a controlled intersection?
Yes, we were stopped at the red light.
Okay. And you were in that left-hand lane. It's 2-lane street there? Or
Uh,
3 lanes, maybe?
2 or 3. Maybe it looks like there's a turn lane there. So.
Okay. And so you're stopped at the lane closest to the gas station?
That's correct.
And what happened as you're sitting there, sir?
So about the same time as we were coming up to stop at the stoplight, there was a vehicle that made a left from Barstow onto the wrong way, to go to the wrong way on North Street, and stopped right up against our vehicle. So,
Okay, could you just draw the travel, the path of travel that you just described, please?
yeah.
What kind of vehicle was this, sir?
It was a red SUV, kind of an older model.
Do you know maker model specifically or not really?
At the time, no. No,
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to say. Just a red SUV, so.
Okay, and you've already indicated that's the wrong.
I like this witness. He's being pretty smart. He's saying, like, no, not at that time. I did not know what it was. Because, of course, you know, that would be one of the things that Darrell would write down and be like, well, how you didn't know what it was then, so, like, what put you in the know now? What made you privy to that information now? Did the prosecution tell you what you were supposed to say? You know how Darrell's going to do. But that was a good way to potentially avoid that line of questioning. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but either way. We'll see. Maybe Darrell still asks him the question. We just don't know with this guy.
Wrong way to be going on North Street.
Correct, ma'am.
Overruled.
What did you do when you saw this red SUV turning the wrong way into your path of travel?
We kind of approached that stop line at the same time, and so we were really with the other vehicle hood to hood, and again, my wife and 2 kids were in the car, and the driver of the other vehicle kind of put up their hands. You know, I could see through the 2 windshields that the other driver put up their hands and was kind of gesturing wildly, like, again, I don't know if mouthing's the right word, but kind of frantically. It seemed upset at us that we were, you know, either going the wrong way or. So I kind of did the same thing, just put my hands up and just kind of was confused because we were coming up to a stoplight and a car had approached us and was hood to hood.
Okay. Did you stay parked hood to hood or what?
Okay, so he almost hit their car before he even ran through the parade. There are so many things, and you guys have said this in the comment section, and I just like I can't agree more with you guys that there are so many things in this situation, like so many different elements that had to go wrong for this parade attack to occur in the first place. Because like if he would have ran into dude right here, that might have been the end of it. Like, unfortunately, he might have had a damaged car, you know what I mean? But like a whole bunch of people might not have gotten run over. Like, who knows? But then at the same time, knowing Darrell, it could have been a hit and run situation because he was going the wrong way. He didn't have a license, car wasn't registered, none of that stuff. So he probably would have fled the scene if the car was still working after he hit this guy's car. And he might have still ran through the parade. You know, I don't know. It's so many different elements of this situation where maybe one thing happens differently and the parade attack never happens. It's kind of insane.
What happened?
So the person in the other vehicle kind of made mention with like a knife hand to his right, my left, to go in maybe towards the gas station. He was kind of pointing to go into the driveway of the gas station. So I looked in my rearview mirror. There was no one parked behind me at the time, and other than that vehicle having to maybe back up into the intersection, I could see that they were motioning to go into the driveway of the gas station.
Okay, can you point out the driveway, please, for the jury?
Yeah, it's just an open driveway here.
Okay.
So I put the car in reverse, backed up maybe 5 feet, and then the vehicle drove into the gas station parking lot.
Do you know who was driving that car?
Again, windshield to windshield, we were somewhat able to identify basic features. But when the car drove into the parking lot, it kind of stopped, positioned itself at an angle, and the driver rolled down the window.
Okay.
Should I draw where they stopped?
Sure.
So the vehicle drove in and kind of stopped on a diagonal like this.
All right. And you're still stopped at the stoplight?
Correct. Still stopped at the stoplight.
Okay.
So the other driver rolled down the window of their vehicle. I just, as a reaction, also rolled down the window of my. I don't know why. It's just a reaction of. So the other driver rolled down their window, maybe halfway, and stuck his head out and kind of looked back. And he said, "Why didn't you get out of the way?" And I'm trying to get gas. And I said, "Well, it's a one-way.
Okay.
You're going the wrong way down the runway." "Well, I'm telling you, I need to get gas." And I go, "Okay, man." And then it was a green light, and then we proceeded. So.
Okay. Do you think you can identify the driver of that red SUV?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see that person present in this courtroom here?
I do. Yeah.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that Mr. Brooks be instructed to remove his mask temporarily.
Mr. Brooks, you're instructed to take off your mask temporarily and look up, please. Thank you.
So at the time, it was a lot more dark facial hair features and longer hair as well. So 'cause again, I would have saw through the windshield once, but then also with the window rolled down, kind of looking back. So maybe just like the forehead and then the long, massive hair.
Sure. So different than he looks today with kind of a clean shaven or very short hairstyle
Yes,
and
ma'am.
scruff or stubble on his chin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you do think it was Darrell Brooks that was driving that car based on seeing him in court here today?
I do, ma'am.
Okay. Did you continue on to the parade, sir?
Yes, we did, ma'am.
And where did you and your family watch the parade?
We were literally on Broadway Street. So that was one of the streets that intersects at the 5 Points, intersects Main Street. And so it was really windy, so we wanted to kind of face away from the wind with the kids, so we were sitting on Broadway.
Okay. I'm sorry, I want to back up one step before I leave the gas station. Did it appear to you as though Mr. Brooks was alone in the car?
Yes, it did.
You only saw one person in that car?
That's correct.
At that.
That's not okay. So again, Darrell doesn't know what hearsay is. A good objection to that would have been objection leading the witness because of the form of the question. But then attorney Sue Opper would have probably just asked the question in a different way and still would have got the answer she was looking for. So it really wouldn't have mattered. There's no objection here that would have done anything for him.
The objection is overruled. His answer may stand.
Did you see any black female subjects walking in the area during this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, now let's go back to the parade. You said you were near the 5 Points?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were kind of positioned in area, trying to get out of the wind, right?
Not out of the wind, but with our backs to the wind. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
It was very windy that night, right?
Yes.
Overruled.
Let me tell you why that's not irrelevant, Darrell. It was very windy that night, just like Detective Carpenter was saying in the interrogation. That wind was cold as hell. That's what he said, right? Why were you found with no jacket on? You know, and obviously his excuse in the interrogation was a lie, but it also didn't make any sense.
Did you see a red SUV go through the parade as you were watching it, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you remember seeing, sir?
It was from our left. It approached to right. The direct view in front of us, there were no floats or parade participants. It was kind of a gap in the parade entries.
Okay.
And so the vehicle approached from our left. There was somebody that flew through the air, and then it exited to the right of our perspective, and that's all we saw. So because we were a little bit, maybe a row or two back from the front of the parade, we didn't have a long view of it coming and it leaving. It was kind of an enter the frame of.
Bro, this man said somebody flew through the... He said that so casually. He said, yeah, somebody flew through the air, and yeah, that's about all we saw. Bro, people don't just fly through the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of puts into perspective. It's like, man, how fast does a car have to go to really do some damage to somebody? Like, what is the lowest miles per hour it can go? Because, like, you know, obviously Darrell shouldn't have been there driving through that parade. Obviously, like, this much is obvious. But what's crazy is, like, 30, 25 miles per hour or whatever, the miles per hour that he's accused of driving, like, that's usually posted in, like, neighborhoods and school zones and stuff. You know, 30 miles per hour, that's really not that fast. It isn't. It's not that fast. But, like, I guess, like, how fast do you really have to go to do damage to another human being with 2,500 pounds of metal? I don't know. But to have somebody flying through the air is kind of crazy when you're only going 30 miles per hour. Like, how does that... I got a C in physics. Okay, that was, like, my worst subject in grade school. So I don't know if any of you are, like, really, like, scientific people. You guys can kind of break that down and explain that to me. Like, how that can happen at 30 miles per hour. I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like I've hit a deer before going 25 miles per hour. And, like, it didn't fly in the air. You know, it did more damage to my vehicle than I think it did to the deer, you know, from what I could tell. So I don't know, man. You guys let me know, though.
Reference and exit pretty quickly.
Okay. But you did unfortunately see a person flying through the air?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell anything about the person as far as what group or unit they were with? If you know. If you don't know, that's okay.
No, it was just dark clothing.
Okay.
The objection is overruled. His answer may stand.
At that point, sir, near that 5 Points intersection, did you hear the horn of the SUV honking as it came through that intersection?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What did you do next?
We folded up our two kids in the chair, in the folding parade, you know, lawn chair, and then got them back to the vehicle pretty quickly.
Okay.
And then my wife went to drive the kids home, and then I went back to help out with the craziness.
Okay. Why'd you go back to help?
It was just a reaction. I think I'll give credit to my wife. She handed me a couple diapers and a bottle of water and said, you know, you got to go back. So we were right there.
Okay.
So we went back.
And again, you have some limited first aid training, or perhaps more than basic training. You have some good knowledge from your service in the armed forces, correct?
Basic Army wear tasks include medical training, so yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so, like, when I was in the Air Force, we learned, like, the basic safety training as well. I got my OSHA certificate as well, but you know, we would learn, like, basic first aid, tourniquets, bandages, those pins, they're kind of like EpiPens, you know, where you, like, stick it in the thigh or whatever, but it's like if you're caught in chemical warfare, it's a way to, like, be able to save somebody, that type of thing. CPR, of course, we learned. So, like, a lot of the safety things that they do teach you, it's not EMT level stuff. Like, I'm not going to be able to take somebody's vitals, and, you know, I'm not going to be able to, you know, administer certain things that maybe an EMT would when they show up with an ambulance. But, you know, just based off of that military training that I did receive, I was able to, you know, like I said, do CPR, do bandages, do tourniquets, do those pins, and dress a wound, a open one, you know, like a gaping wound. I can dress that with, like, the most random materials, you know, seal it, whatever the case may be. And I'm sure he had to do a lot of that here because, like, people had bones sticking out of their legs and stuff, people going into shock and everything like that. Like, you gotta bend the knee or whatever to keep them from going in shock. You bend one knee, you leave the other one straight, or whatever the case may be. Little things like that can really save a life. So, like, this guy, he knew he had that training. Obviously, he, like you just said, it was his natural reaction. I feel the same way. Now, I've never been in a position like this where I've had to make that decision, like, oh man, am I leaving or am I going back to save people? But I have been in situations where I've had to, like, think fast of, like, okay, am I going to help somebody? Like, I was at a show a few years ago and literally witnessed somebody. Basically, it was a wrestling show, and if any of you guys have been to wrestling shows, when you sit on floor seats, sometimes you get those, like, souvenir chairs. So one of the families was walking away with their souvenir chair, and some dude, like, just came up behind them and, like, took it out of their hand and started running. And, like, it was like, without even thinking, I just started sprinting after the dude. And so did the husband. The husband started sprinting after him. I started sprinting after him, and he eventually just dropped the chair and just ran away. But it's like when you're in the military, you do have, like, that quick thinking. A lot of us, like, develop that quick thinking where we don't really freeze up. We just do what we have to do. It's like our first instinctual reaction.
Were you able to render aid to any individuals on Main Street?
There were 2, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions for you. Mr. Brooks may have some questions.
Mr. Brooks?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Basie. Could I please ask the clerk to make a screenshot and mark it as 1D, and then I would move to admit.
7A. Should be right.
Yes.
Actually, it will be 7A.
Thank you.
So that will be marked as 7A. Mr. Brooks, any position on that?
Oh man, they're happy. They're smiling. Darrell's not gonna like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I object to the relevancy of it. This was on the screen right now. We talking about this?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see the relevance of this.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. The court receives Exhibit 7A.
He acts like it's so ridiculous. He's like, yeah, of course it's going to be objected. Yes, of course it's going to be rejected or overruled. Your objections don't make any sense. Like, why would they be sustained?
Do you have any questions for this witness?
But it's all a show for the jury. Don't forget, it's all a show for the jury. He knows the jury's right there. He's continuously trying to play up this thing of, I'm being wronged, I'm being discriminated against, taken advantage of. See, the one thing that really makes me mad about this trial, you have this trial where Darrell Brooks essentially ran over a lot of white people. This black man ran over a lot of white people. And, it's acts like this, it's situations like this, where when we as black people try to, fight and protest for different cases like Tamir Rice, like George Floyd, like Ahmaud Arbery, like, it's situations like this, Trayvon Martin, it's situations like this where we take 10 steps forward and now we've taken 11 steps back because of somebody like this. Because Darrell Brooks' actions have way more widespread effects than he could ever anticipate. And it sucks because, like, I'll get comments in this comment section, talking about why I'm not covering certain trials, which I am going to cover. It's just I'm covering this one now. If you think I'm not touching Derek Chauvin and Hannah Payne and people like that, you got another thing coming. I am touching that. But what I want to be understood is that before I'm African American, I'm a human being. So I have natural empathy for human beings that have been wronged, that have been hurt, harmed, taken advantage of, whatever the case may be. I see their color second. I see them as a human being first. Now, yes, I do see color. People who say they don't see color, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to just let you know right now. That makes no sense. But I see human beings first before I see color. Before I am a black man, I am a man. Right? What Darrell Brooks did in this case is give people another reason, because they were already looking for one, but you gave them another reason not to care about anything that the real Black Lives Matter was fighting for and is fighting for, not the organization that was stealing money and buying $1 million houses. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people like me, people like my wife, my cousins, my aunts, my mom, my grandparents, people like that were actually on the street peacefully protesting, people that try to make a difference in their communities every day, people that were literally just saying, hey, we're human beings too, please don't kill us. People like Darrell Brooks have now walked that back 11 steps, even though we took 10 steps forward. We got so many people on our side. So many people understanding our cause, believing in our cause, being able to separate us from the obvious propaganda that was being spread by the looting and all those things. Now we've taken 11 steps back because of somebody like this. And so I hate when I get a comment in my comment section telling me, why am I not covering this trial or that trial? I'm covering this trial because this man killed 6 people and ran over dozens more. And one of the people that he killed was an innocent 8-year-old boy who hadn't even gotten his start in life yet. So I don't really care what color Darrell is. Somebody has asked me, do I think it was racially motivated? I don't know. I'm not going to say yes and I'm not going to say no because I really don't know if it was racially motivated or not. I just know that this guy's a POS. That's it. That's all I know. I don't care what color he is. He's just a bad human being. It bothers me to the core because it's like we do all this work. We make all this progress. And then people like this who don't care about anybody but themselves push us back even further. It's frustrating to me. And then he has the nerve to really sit here in court and act like he's being wronged. And then that idiot Jay Prince for president has the nerve to be showing up in court to support this sex offender, this child killer, this molester, this deadbeat father. I got a whole video I'm going to do on Jay Prince for president. A whole video. But what I want to be understood is, Jay Prince, you're fake. You're fake. You're not really about what you be talking about. You can act like you got all this passion for, when white people do it, they this is what they get, and when black people do it, this is when they get. If you really cared, this would not be the first trial that you ever went to. There are trials every single day in your local courthouses where black young men are being either wrongfully convicted or given unfair prison sentences or being treated unfairly in the courtroom, whatever the case may be. And you're not there. Why? Because it's not televised, so you're not getting no clout from it. You're fake. You're fake, and everybody can see right through you. Except your stupid homie that was on the live with you that decided to, I see his point. You're not seeing his point. You're not seeing his point. Shut up, bro. You sound stupid too. And if you're going to align with this dude, that means you're aligning with Darrell Brooks. That means you're aligning with a child molester. That means you're aligning with a child murderer. A mass murderer. That's what he is. He's not innocent. He got caught in 4K. How about you go support maybe somebody who was acting in self-defense? Darrell Brooks wasn't doing that. How about you go support somebody who maybe got caught with less than 10 grams of weed, but yet they're being threatened to be put in prison for years and years? Why don't you go support them? Non-violent offenders. Go support them. Because you think you're adding to some balance here? You think you're doing something by showing up in court to support this guy? Why? Because some white people supported Derek Chauvin, because some white people supported George Zimmerman. So you think by balancing that out, it makes it right now? No, those people were stupid and so are you. Get a life. Stop chasing clout by any means necessary. Karma waits for no man. So if this is who you want to align yourself with, if you want to align yourself with Darrell Edward Brooks Jr., be my guest. But don't expect black people to come out of the woodworks and be supporting your cause, because your cause is stupid. It has no foundation. It has no aim. It has no basis. If you're really about that life, I want to see you at your local courthouses. I want to see you all around the place at every single trial you can get to supporting black men. I want to see you starting a nonprofit if you're really about it. Start a nonprofit to support bail. Bail's not cheap. It's very expensive. Start a nonprofit for it. If you're really about this life, if you want to see black men have a chance in court, how about you help them be able to fight their cases outside of jail? Everybody knows it's easier to fight your case if you can bail out. Come on, bro. Like, it's easy to see right through you. It's very easy to see right through you.
In your you have a written statement and a statement that you gave to Officer Barrett. Would that be fair to say?
I don't remember the name of the officer that took my statement.
Would it be fair to say that you were interviewed by an officer, a female officer?
Yes.
And would it also be fair that you gave a written statement to that same officer?
I think I signed the statement that she wrote.
So it would be fair to say that the officer wrote down what you told her?
Yes.
And do you remember the date that interview took place?
A couple days after the parade incident.
Any reason why it wouldn't have been the same day as the parade?
I would assume that they were rendering aid to the victims of the incident, and it took a while to get back to anybody that had called in with any altercations, or not altercations, but interactions.
Do you recall stating in this interview that you saw the news and a picture of the male driving the said SUV?
I believe in the statement I said that I wanted to provide a description of who I had the interaction with before I saw any picture of anybody on the news.
So you never stated that since the incident and before the statement that you saw the news and the picture of the male?
I guess I don't understand the question.
In your statement that the officer wrote down. Well, let me back up. Did you see a picture of the alleged defendant on the news?
Yes, but not before I provided the description to the officer.
So the description that you gave, would that be the same officer that did the interview?
I called the evening of the incident. I called the non-emergency line and provided the description at maybe 10:30 that evening of the event, and then provided the same description to the officer, a few days later.
Do you recall why you called the non-emergency line for something that would have been so big that it should have been an emergency call?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained, please rephrase the question, Mr. Brooks.
Any reason why you would call the non-emergency line?
Someone going down a wrong way on a one-way street a few minutes before the parade didn't seem like an emergency compared to what had happened at the parade.
So would it be fair to say that you were then reporting someone going down the wrong way, trying to get into the gas station at that time?
At what time?
At the time that you called the non-emergency number?
I wanted to report that I had seen someone in a red SUV going the wrong way down a one-way before the parade, and the possibility that it was connected to the red SUV that I had seen drive through the parade.
So that non-emergency report, as you state, would have been to make a possible connection between the two incidents?
I was just reporting what I had seen.
What could Darrell possibly get out of this witness that would help his case? Like, I can't think of anything that his questioning would get out of this witness that would help him look better to the jury. There is literally no question he could ask to this witness that would help him look better to the jury. I cannot stress that enough. But like as we know, because we've been watching this trial together for a couple of weeks now, and honestly, we've been watching this trial for like 2 years or a year, whatever the case may be. The trial was last year, right? Yeah. So we've been watching this trial for a full calendar year now. And we know that Darrell Brooks just loves to waste as much time as humanly possible. But there is nothing he could ask right now at all that helps his case. Because he doesn't even have a case to begin with. But even if he did, there's nothing he could ask.
So at that time, would it be fair to say you weren't sure if there was a connection?
I would say that I had a red SUV 5 feet from my hood, and then I saw a red SUV drive through the parade and wanted to, notify the police that I had seen that.
So at the time, were you sure that there was a connection?
Pretty sure, yes.
And what would have made you pretty sure?
The color of the SUV, the approximate age of the SUV, the timing between the 20 minutes of where I was in Waukesha to the 25 minutes later that I had seen the red SUV go through the parade.
Would it be fair to say that you just described the SUV that made the wrong turn going into the gas station as an older model? I think that was your correct words. Is that fair?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to make the connection between the older model SUV that you saw going into the gas station and the one that you saw in the parade?
No, they were similar age. I guess older subjective. I mean, it was a similar age, the one I saw before the parade and the one I saw during the parade.
So it'd be fair to say that you weren't exactly sure.
I'm pretty sure they were the same vehicle.
Do you recall in your statement saying that you were 95% sure?
That sounds right, yes, 95%. I would give that same percentage, yes.
Why would you not be 100% sure if you say that you believe that they were the same vehicle?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Please rephrase the question, Mr. Brooks.
I guess I'll say like what put any doubt in your head that they weren't the same vehicle?
I wasn't able to see the driver of the person going through the parade because it was moving so fast. So I guess there's a very, very small chance that the red SUV I saw beforehand happened to be a similar year, make, and model and color of the SUV that I saw go through the parade.
Okay, so he was moving so fast that you could not see the driver, though. And I don't remember if those windows were tinted on the SUV. I believe they were, but didn't he also, like, at some point during the parade, he had his window rolled down? So even still, regardless, if you're going so fast down a parade route, like, if you guys have ever watched a parade, nobody's going that fast where you can't see their face. So if somebody is going down a parade route so fast that you can't see their face, that's a problem.
So you weren't exactly sure who was driving the SUV in the parade?
Correct.
Do you recall in the statement that the officer wrote down? Do you recall telling the officer that was writing the report that you were 95% sure the male you saw prior to the parade at the gas station was the one driving through the parade route?
As far as I would not be able to identify who was driving through the parade route because the vehicle was moving too fast.
Do you recall saying that his voice was the same?
Yes. So when the second interview had taken place, again, I wanted to provide the description to the officer, the visual description the night of. But just as I did now, I'm 95% sure that the interaction that I had prior to the parade was with you.
Who do you refer to when you say you?
whatever your name is.
So you don't know the alleged defendant's name?
Does it matter? I don't care if you legally changed your name while you were in jail. You are still the same human being that you were on November 21 of 2021. But hey, technicalities, run with them. The jury's really going to be convinced.
I do, yeah.
Would it be safe to assume that if you couldn't see who was driving the SUV in the parade route, that you also couldn't identify if it was the same voice?
The voice has nothing to do with the driver of the vehicle driving the parade. Again, it was moving too quickly. I wasn't able to identify the driver when I saw the vehicle going through the parade.
So would it be safe to assume that you got the description from the news and picture of the person that you seen on the news?
The person and the voice that I saw in the news matched who I interacted with prior to the parade.
But just so we're clear for the record, there was no way you saw who was driving the vehicle in the parade route.
Correct.
You guys notice the pens that he uses? He can't even have like full pens, right? They take the ballpoint and the ink tube out. Like if you take a pen apart, like, okay, basically they're giving him this part, obviously with the ballpoint attached to it, but this is all he can have. He can't even have a full pen because he's such an idiot. He's such an idiot. Imagine being such an idiot. You put yourself in a position in life where you can't even have a full pen anymore. That's crazy.
Going back to the interaction at the gas station, do you recall telling the interviewing officer that the driver of that vehicle rolled down the window to say, "I'm almost out of gas"?
Yes.
Do you recall backing your vehicle up to let the driver of that car into the gas station?
Yes.
You're asking him questions that he literally already made testimony to when the state was asking him questions. He already told this whole story.
Do you remember how far you backed up?
5 feet.
Again,
Do
already
you
answered.
remember telling the reporting officer who was writing down your statement that it was 10 feet?
5 to 10 feet.
Was it 5 feet or 10 feet?
It was enough to let the vehicle into the gas station.
So would it be safe to say that you don't recall?
It would be safe to say it's between 5 and 10 feet.
Darrell got the right one, bro. It's military folks, bro. You're not going to catch us on a bunch of technicalities. It's just not going to happen. Like, they specifically train us in the military to pay attention to detail. And you're not going to run circles around a member of the military when it comes to details. It's just not going to happen. Like, that's literally what we come in training on. When we are in basic training, when we're in those barracks and we're cleaning and doing certain things, like, everything has to be done in a very particular way. You are not going to catch us on a technicality, bro. It's just not going to happen. Built different. You got to know your subject matter and your audience. Again, guys,
After your
this is 1.25 speed and he's taking this long.
initial non-emergency call, it was the night of the parade that you made the non-emergency call, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall how long after that you were then interviewed by law enforcement?
A few days.
Did you try to attempt to call and report again?
Yes, I think so. I think I'd called again maybe a day or two later, just because again it was when I first called the night of. They seemed to be pretty busy, so I called a day or two later just to make sure that anybody had taken down the statement that I had made the night of, and then it was a couple days later that the officer came out to interview me.
Would it be fair to state that at that time you were still seeking to report what had happened at the gas station?
That's correct.
So you weren't seeking to report any connection between the gas station incident and what you saw on the parade route?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. He may answer.
I was calling to report what I had seen before the parade.
And the second reporting was before you actually were interviewed, correct? Just so we're clear for the record.
What do you mean by the second reporting?
The second time that you called to make a report about the gas station incident, that was before you ultimately were interviewed by law enforcement.
That's correct. The second call was just to make sure that they still had my name, and I didn't really file a formal report that second time. It was just a call to see that they still had my name and contact info, and they had said that an officer would be out eventually to interview.
Do you guys ever get the sense that sometimes when Darrell's questioning witnesses, it's just because he wants to know everything that was going on? It's not to prove a case. He's just interested. So he's just asking questions. Like when they start interviewing like the specialists and things like that, like the one that that measures the miles per hour via like the traffic cameras and stuff. He just starts asking questions about how it works and stuff because he thinks he's in class or something, and when he's interviewing these witnesses, it's like, oh, you know what? I just really want to know like what I did look like from your point of view. That's all he wants. That like these questions are going pretty much nowhere. They don't build any type of defense for him.
At that time, when you called to make sure that they still had your name on file or your report about the gas station incident, at that time, had you made any connection to that incident and what you saw at the parade?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. We've been through this.
Sustained. It's been asked and answered. Mr. Brooks, I draw your attention once again to 90611.
Noted.
Next topic, please.
Noted. And were you subpoenaed by the state of Wisconsin to testify?
Oh Lord, here we go.
Did the state of the county? I received a letter from the county.
Did they identify as the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin in the courtroom today?
Objection, Your Honor. Vague.
Sustained.
To the best of your knowledge, do you know if the state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you ever had any interaction with the state of Wisconsin?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Ever had a phone conversation with the state of Wisconsin?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you even know the state of Wisconsin?
Same objection.
Sustained.
Again, Judge Darrell, you just brought up 90611, right? Bring it up again. Move on to a different topic. Stop talking about the plaintiff. Move on to a different topic, or your questioning is done. Like, come on. Why does Sue Hopper have to object like 5 times?
Mr. Brooks, new topic, or I'll stop the cross-examination
Oh, I spoke too soon. There we go.
under 90611.
One second. Do you recall how long approximately you were stopped at the red light during the gas station incident?
A minute or two.
Why does it matter?
Did you ever see the vehicle that went into the gas station actually get gas?
When we turned left onto Barstow, I noticed that the vehicle didn't stop for gas and was going to either exit to go back on north, but it didn't stop at a gas.
So that was the question I was waiting on Darrell Brooks to ask. Because I'm like, that's the only question that helps you out at all. I mean, it doesn't really help you because, again, you're caught in 4K everywhere. But let's just say, for the hell of it, let's just say that there were no cameras and all we had is eyewitness testimony. Even though that would probably still be enough because you got like 50 eyewitnesses. But still, let's say there were no cameras that caught him doing anything. And he yells out the window, I'm trying to get gas, whatever the case may be. You never saw him get gas. He could argue, well, how would I have ran through a parade? I didn't have enough gas to even go anywhere. You know, parade's all the way over there. I'm all the way over here. If I didn't get gas, how would I be able to run through the parade? I wouldn't have had any gas. How could I run through the parade and escape down the block if I didn't have any gas? You know, that could have been an argument. But again, it's not an argument because there were cameras everywhere. He did get caught on camera. Multiple cameras. Cell phones. Street traffic cameras. Everything you can think of caught this dude doing everything he's accused of.
Did you see the vehicle pull off from the gas station, or was it just kind of stationary parked?
I can't say what the vehicle did because I was already at that point out of view. I just know that it had not gone to one of the gas pumps.
No further questions.
Finally. Any redirect?
Correct.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step.
All right. So no redirect because all of Darrell Brooks' questions were absolutely, positively stupid. But anyway. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Yes, I went on a little mini rant in the middle of it. Get used to it because there's a lot more of those coming, okay? Look, I got opinions, strong ones, and I plan on sharing them with you guys. And those of you who I piss off, hey, man, it is what it is. This is my channel. I do what I want. And those of you who, you know, can respect either a different perspective or maybe a perspective that you agree with, hey, man, welcome to the family. Welcome to Alphonso Speaks. Like, share, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Remember, peace, love, and positivity. Spread it everywhere. And stay safe. Stay blessed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.